Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining, whatever capacity you are joining us today for our second session of looking at the Enneagram. Got some exciting stuff today. We're starting to break down the components of this system, and it's going to just get more and more interesting from here. Thanks, Zach. Zach, again, is our tech director. He's helping from Warwick today online. Kudos to him. References are handy, absolutely. We don't need them now, but have a look at those later for sure. That's where I pulled all this stuff from. Okay, our acknowledgement of country. This is important, and it's a privilege to be here on this land that belongs to the Indigenous people of Australia and its surrounds. In affiliation with USQ, Wisdom and the Enneagram acknowledges the traditional owners of the land on which we gather today. These are the Gayabal and Jarowair peoples. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Of the Toowoomba area where the USQ Toowoomba campus has been built. We pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. There we go. Thanks, Zach. Thank you all for coming again. Very pleased you can make it in any capacity. Okay. Oh, no, you can run back to that last one. Maybe I got the order a bit wrong here, but the mind, heart, body. So this is we're about the whole person in this club. We're about an untroubled mind, an unwavering heart, and an unblemished body. This is the prayer and the central tenet of what we do and learn about here. So it's about the flourishing of the whole person. And I've tried to really summarize it simply and plainly in this, what I call it a prayer. I don't know of a better word. If you can think of one, please let me know because that would be handy. But this is what we're about. Thanks, Zach. We are a new kind of club. Wisdom and the Enneagram aims to facilitate the well-being of the whole person through its teaching and learning. We are an expansive, expanding space for all people, regardless of circumstances, to know love, peace, healing and restoration, and show up in the community with joy and hope for the future. So what does this mean, expansive and expanding? This means that the premise of the club is not just to spread knowledge that the executive, that's the people who run the thing, for all intents and purposes, that's Zach and I. So it's not just what we believe to be beneficial, but to go beyond assumptions and beliefs to understand the needs and perspectives of the people who engage with the content that is put together. That's you, the members. It also means that continual learning is always encouraged and pursued. No one sees the whole picture, so let's help each other to uncover it. Wings. Many of you may already know about wings to some degree, so that's great. We'll get a refresher today. In this session, we'll be learning about wings in the Enneagram. This is the next step in completing our understanding, to the extent that we can, of the dynamics of our individual personalities. All 9 Enneatypes have 2 wings. These are features of the 2 types adjacent to any one Enneatype. You can see from this image, for example, the wings of type 1 would be 2 and 9, as they are the 2 types adjacent to Enneatype 1 on the traditional, the only Enneagram symbol that I know of. So yes, those would be its 2 wings. There's an example. We all use both wings to fly through life. My little bit of poetic license there. But one is usually more dominant than another. We tend to lean on the features and qualities of a particular type throughout our life. We will explore some of the reasons why in the future. That's a little more of the more nitty-gritty psychology of things. But we'll come back to that at a later date. Let's fly on. Welcome back. There's a slight technical glitch there. Crack on. Flying on to our next slide. I don't know how well you can see it. It should be show up okay in the recording. It's just a nice little diagram that I found. I'm fond of colors and things like that. So that should be helpful to get a little idea of how types and wings show up in the people that you know in your relationships. There'll be a video with more of this later on. It won't be in the recording, unfortunately, but it is on the Facebook page for people who are joining online to go and enjoy. Thanks, Zach. Okay, straight into it. Type 8 wings. Now, this is from the new Top Gun movie Maverick. I have no idea what his personality is, or Tom Cruise as a person, but the name is Maverick, so I thought it would be relevant and maybe a bit of a funny. So 8 wing 7, often referred to as the Maverick. So you'll hear, and I've read and heard sources describe wings as something that flavor the core or dominant or lead type. I think that's not untrue, but I think you can go further than that to say that wings are in addition to the core type. So it's more of an 8 plus the features of the 7 rather than just a flavoring or a blending with that type. That does show up in personalities, kind of blending, but I think it's more of an in addition. At least that's in my experience. That's what I've seen, and that's how it's come across to me. So the 8 wing 7, a person who makes their own way in the world, is independent and powerful and concerned with their power and prioritizes their own needs and desires. More blatantly, 8-ish. I'm using that. Than 8 wing 9 in general. I think power plus independence. So 8 plus 7, power plus independence. And some examples, this films you may or may not have seen. Miss Trunchbull from Matilda, Shrek from the Shrek films. Both, as far as I can tell, good examples of 8 wing 7 powerful people, powerful independent people who are concerned really only with their own needs and desires. And can be cruel to others as a result of not being aware or concerned for others. Of course, all the types can be closed off and cruel to others for their journey of self-understanding and love begins in earnest. But with this type, it can show up blatantly in the way they use their power. So, thanks, Zach. 8 wing 9. I just think of my grandmother every time I think of this type. Lovely lady, such a fair personality. That's the best way to describe it. Really is. You know, 8 wing 9. Been close several 8 wing 9s in my life, and they're a very, very particular energy and a very loving and devoted and passionate energy. So a person protects their loved ones. Is focused on protecting their loved ones. From what I have experienced, by being tough and resilient and using their power to care for dependents, for vulnerable people in their purview. Gentler and more attuned to a group than 8 wing 7 in general. I think I might have written 8 wing 9 again, but I meant to say 8 wing 7. Tends to be overprotective or over-involved in the lives of its dependents. It can be, that can be a feature. Think power plus harmony. So the power and toughness of the 8 with the harmony and the wanting to be in tune with the group. Some examples: Stoic, Hiccup's dad from How to Train Your Dragon. If you haven't seen that movie, absolute must. Watch all 3. Get on it. That's just my opinion, but there it is. Okay. Nine wing 8, the comfort seeker. This one also, I've heard it called the referee. I like this one better for reasons that I hope to make clear in a second. So a person, this tends to be a person, and I apologize, I know it's very much generalization. I'm just trying to point out and extract what distinguishes it from 9 wing 1 and other types in general. A person who suppresses their higher energies, the more they suppress their self-actualization, their progress as a whole person, and resign from the adventure of life by hiding in excessive comfort and pleasure. Hiding sounds like I'm working on the way I word these things, but I think the message is getting across there, I hope. More assertive and self-seeking than 9 wing 1 in general. These are generalizations. So think sloth, so a slowness, waking up to the higher calling of life. That's what sloth tends to mean traditionally, plus lust. So the excess, wanting to live excessively. Some examples, Kevin Malone from The Office. I think I'm pretty confident about that one. Could be wrong. I don't know his motivation, but you can research that one. Bert Large from Doc Martin, another great show. Some people here have seen that one. Winnie the Pooh is an obvious, probably the most obvious comfort seeker from the 100 Acre Wood. Yeah, he's a bad giveaway, I think. And as we explore this, it'll make sense. It'll just go, oh, yeah, of course, Winnie the Pooh. Yep, moving on. I'm going to watch myself. I'm moving a bit too quickly through these. Okay, 9 wing 1, often referred to as the dreamer. It's to be a person who lives out their higher energies, their self-actualizing potential. They tend to live that out, not really, in daydreams and fantasies. And that's not just because they're looking at Walter Mitty. It's goes beyond that, and resigns from the adventure of life again. In the obvious way they do that is by complying with others in their environment. They're more compliant in general than the 9 wing 8, and so that way they keep, the equilibrium. They don't stir the boat, but they can also never really know what it is that they're meant to achieve in life. So it can be more idealistic and ethical than 9 wing 8 in general. Think again, that sloth, that slowness to waking up, plus that higher motive. I mean, all types have a connection to a higher motive, but that one aspect is like there's something that needs to be changed or done in the world that I need to do, but I need to wake up to know what that is. So Pam Beasley, I think, is the 9 wing 1. Walter Mitty is a clear example of this. That's what the whole movie is about, the dreamer waking up. So go watch that one and refer back to this stuff and see if it all matches up. And if it doesn't, come back to me and go, hey, Timothy, you don't understand the Enneagram at all. What are you doing? Type 1 wings. 1 wing 9, commonly referred to as the idealist. A person who seeks to conform life to an ideal, whatever that may be, is somewhat detached and does not express their anger flagrantly. They're not obviously out there, doing bad things. It's not necessarily ostentatious in the way they're angry. Tend to be more calm and reserved than 1 wing 2 in general. So think anger plus the reserve of the 9. Healthier 1 wing 9s can come across as gentle with this, and more gentle than 1 wing 2s. So hopefully that pattern is making sense. An example is Thanos from Avengers. So you might go, what? ones never do anything wrong. It's like, well, no, not true. Ones want to reform the world and conform it to an ideal, but that ideal may not necessarily be good in the way that everyone thinks of that. And as, for example, wants to restore balance to the universe. That, of course, means murdering half of all of life. That's the way that the one, and I think he's a very unhealthy one, that's the way they view life. And they have that deep conviction of things that are wrong, need to be righted, and I'll do what is required to make that happen. So I'm just starting to try to nudge you into an awareness of actually these types are very nuanced. Not all they appear to be. Thanks, Zach. Here we go. Moving to the advocate. Now, I'm a little biased because I take a lot of inspiration from Peterson's work, but he's a good example of this type. So let's just lay aside whatever bias I may have. The person who seeks to act upon their sense of the good, what they know to be right, tend to be more people-oriented than the 1 wing 9, and want to help and guide others in the right way of doing things, what they understand to be the right way. It may be the right way, but it's, again, the one has this conviction that they know the right way. And so the 1 wing 2 is actively going out there and championing others in their cause. More obviously passionate and openly angry than the 1 wing 9 in general. Think the anger of the one plus the pride of I know what's best for you of the two. That's, again, it's one in addition to the features of the two. Pride. For example, Dr. Jordan Peterson, he is a clear advocate presence in the world, advocating for the right way of navigating through life. Again, as with all people, take what he says with a grain of salt. And Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of not Notre Dame, it's Notre Dame. My French isn't great. If you've seen that movie, that one should click. How that plays out. I could be wrong. He may be more of the benign. Again, you tend to become. Can be more balanced in these wings. But I think he's an example of this one. So check out the movie and see what you think. Start mapping all this together in your own minds, in your own space. I think that's it for the types for today. I got through this a lot quicker than I anticipated. Again, I'm going to have to pace myself or give you guys more content. Yeah, I mean, you can comment on this one with questions about wings or the Enneagram as a whole. Please, any and all questions, any comments, any feedback, any suggestions on how the club can be improved, how it runs, more than welcome. Please put all your feedback through the Facebook page. Message me directly, send me an email. Let us know what can be better. So that's all we have for the recording today. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this in whatever capacity you are. I hope it's a real benefit to you. So keep practicing the work of knowing yourself and others, and keep loving one another in that compassion. Thank you, and see you later.